All right, welcome back to the Wrestling with Altitude podcast. I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and on this podcast, this episode, I have one of the local wrestling talents here in the Colorado area, and that is Captain Stevens. Yo-ho, Captain Stevens, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good today, Mr. Fourth Row. How about yourself?
I am hanging in there. So, I really appreciate you coming onto the show. Let's start off with the first question. So, how did you get interested in professional wrestling? Did you watch it as a child?
Oh, my dad had me watching wrestling pretty much, at least from what my mom says, is when I was an infant, like 4 to 6 months old and stuff like that. And even my uncle has this little story he likes to tell of how he knew I was going to be a wrestler. Is there was one day we just finished watching wrestling, and I was like 3 years old or so, and my mom was sleeping on the floor, and I guess I climbed up on the arm of the couch and did a Macho Man flying elbow right across her nose.
So at that young of age, do you remember watching it, or do you have any memories from back then?
I guess my earliest memory of professional wrestling is SummerSlam 1992, the one that took place at Wembley Stadium in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And we had recorded it on a VHS tape, and I used to watch the heck out of that tape. Like, I used to watch, especially the main event, which was the Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental title.
Right. So the question is, well, do you still have the tape, or is it just worn out? And if so, do you even have anything to still play it on?
No, I don't have the tape or a VHS player. Thank goodness for the network, so I can relive that memory.
All right, yeah, that's true. So I was just kind of curious. So, who were your favorites of watching? Who did you really like to enjoy their work?
Oh man, I could almost do like a timeline with it. I mean, when I was a little kid, it was the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, I even dressed up like him for Halloween and stuff like that. Did the whole face paint and the arm tassels and stuff like that. And then as I got older and he wasn't there, it kind of transitioned to Bret Hart. I followed him even when he left after Montreal all the way to WCW. I followed his career up until pretty much the time he left, and that's actually about. I'd stopped watching wrestling for a little bit around then, but I'd say those were probably the two biggest.
Oh, very cool. So then, what then got you into thinking and actually taking that step into doing this as a little bit of a profession?
So in about 2008, I was about 20 years old or so. I went to a RMCW show. It was at Red and Jerry's, and they had like Butch Reed there, and I watched him wrestle Rob Ryzen and stuff like that. And then I remember after that being invited over to like a WrestleMania watch party at someone's house, and they were talking about training guys then, and I had gotten somewhat interested back then, and because I didn't even know there was an independent wrestling scene in Colorado at all until about that time.
Oh wow! So then, who was it that you got involved with? Doing your training and stuff.
My first ever night of training, actually, I went to I don't know if you remember it, the IWF Butcher Shop.
I've heard of it. Yes.
It's essentially now the Primo's Butcher Shop, because Primo's just kind of took over the school.
Right.
And people who train there essentially worked at like both promotions and whatnot, and it just kind of transitioned to Primo's once IWF closed doors. But that was my first night of training, was with IWF, and then I just continued when it transferred over to Primo's.
Mm. And so, did you start training there right away in 2008? Did you say?
No, actually, I did not find a school until about 2011.
2011, okay.
I had ended up just looking it up online and found the school.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And so you have been doing this ever since then? So about 7-8 years?
If we're counting training, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to do kind of training because it's still part of all the process, right?
That is still part of all the process. You honestly never stop learning. So.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's very true. So then, when did you have like your first match?
Crazy enough, my first match didn't come. I want to say it came in about 2015. I wasn't always the best about maintaining a proper coming to training schedule because I had really crazy work hours, especially starting in 2011 when my boss was very adamant about not giving me the days off that they trained. So I didn't make my debut or like my first match until about 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm. And who was your opponent?
Crazy enough, have you ever heard of Primo's Carnival?
The actual show? Yes.
Yeah, the Halloween show?
Yes.
My first match, I was stung, and I wrestled Cody Devine, who was Stang.
Okay. Nice. That's very cool. Awesome. All right. So then you just been kind of hitting the promotions pretty much since then. Kind of got a steady work schedule per se. In the wrestling community. Then
I do, at least in Denver. And because I work with Primos and I work with CSW. I mean, it's definitely not to say that I wouldn't want to work for any other promotion because, I mean, I have wrestled like twice for Lucha Libre and Laughs, but I definitely would like to do more. Yeah. But I do keep steady with Primos and CSW.
Right. And did I catch at one time you worked for is it Big Sky as well?
Big Sky, that's promotion out in Wyoming.
Yeah.
I'm actually their United States champion.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. Say that again.
I'm actually their United States champion.
The current United States champion in Big Sky, huh?
Yep.
And how often do they do shows? Because it seems like they're kind of a little intermittent. Or is it just
they're very intermittent. Okay. I mean, we haven't had a show up there since, I want to say, June or July.
Oh, wow. Do you think that's just because, would you agree with me that the wrestling scene in Colorado is really taking off right now?
I would definitely chalk it up to that. I mean, there's, it's really crazy right now with how many promotions that are popping up in and around the state, especially, down in Colorado Springs and stuff like that. And then, you have Primos and New Era and Rocky Mountain Pro and Lucha Libre and Laughs up in Denver.
Right. And then the countless number of actual Lucha promotions too.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well, you kind of too, currently are in a, I guess the best way to explain it would be like a faction called the Party Pirate Punks. How did that come about?
To be completely honest with you, I think that at a certain point we were just kind of thrown together. And because we were originally just the Party Pirates, and it was me and Paulie B. And then Paulie B got injured. He hurt his knee in our first tag outing, to be honest.
Oh, no.
So then a couple months later, they paired me up with Johnny Crash while Paulie was rehabbing. And we just kind of went from there as the Pirate Punks. And then, about 7-8 months later, Paulie came back from his knee injury, and he just kind of got lumped in with us, and we became the Party Pirate Punks.
Ever since. Oh, well. Was it just something that just kind of happened, or were you kind of put together by anybody like special that maybe we've mentioned on the podcast before? Or just...
I could definitely say it's someone that's definitely special to me. I mean, Chris Chavez, the former owner of CSW, is the one that put us together.
I had an idea. He's kind of a genius. Would you? He's just kind of has that magical touch. Would you agree with that?
He really did. He really did have that, just kind of that magical touch. I mean, I can't honestly say like right off the top at what it was, but there was always something about, CSW when we first got there that just, it kind of made wrestling down in Colorado Springs really special.
Yeah.
To have him there. And I do know that a lot of us really miss him. So.
Oh yeah, I miss him too. So speaking of that, I know that you and I have kind of talked about it a little bit, but why don't we go ahead and reiterate on the podcast the couple of special things that when it comes to CSW for you that have kind of been bookend most recently with the last Colorado Springs show. So tell everybody about that.
Well, I mean, just Chris in general was always just someone that really believed a lot in me. And he always spoke really highly of me. And, we had worked, before he opened CSW, we had worked a couple times on the independent scene, and he was really high on me then. And then, me and Cormac Battle were actually in the very, very first match in CSW. I mean, we opened the very, very first show. It was just me and Cormac. And that will always kind of be like a little special thing that I have with Mac, in opening up that show. Right.
And then now most recently, tell the listeners what happened for you with CSW.
Well, I am one half of the CSW Tag Team Champions with my cohorts, Paulie B and Johnny Crash. And I also just won the Christopher Chavez Senior Memorial Battle Royal. Got a big, big, big trophy for that.
Right.
To show that.
Okay. And then that leads me into what you have coming up in the near future, here in about just a little bit over in a week. So tell the listeners what is going on there.
Well, I actually have, if you don't mind, I actually have 2 shows coming up here.
Right.
Within about the week and a half.
Go ahead.
Definitely Primo's this Sunday is a woman's scorn from the Watering Bowl. That's going to be one heck of a show. I mean, have you seen the main event for that one, Artie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Filter and Anaya, that's going to be a match that nobody should miss. And then a week from Friday, March 8th, I'm at CSW Bar Fights Volume 3, where the main event is myself versus Joey Kincaid. And that's going to be another match of just 2 bulls.
Right. And Joey Kincaid was the person that you had, was the last person was eliminated before you won the tournament.
Before winning the Battle Royal, yes.
Battle Royal,
Joey
yeah.
Kincaid
Right.
was the last person eliminated, was the person that I eliminated.
Yeah.
There to win Battle Royal.
Yeah, so you think he's coming back at you for a little bit of revenge?
Oh, I wouldn't necessarily put it past him, I mean, he definitely didn't look happy after the elimination, and I can tell you he is one tough guy.
Right.
Oh, tough guy.
Yeah, well, they don't call him the human grenade for nothing.
That's very true. That is very true.
Yeah. So let's so we got those out, but let's talk about possibly in the near or in the little bit farther in the future. Do you have any kind of like dream matches, any kind of opponents that you would like to wrestle, both as a single competitor and then maybe even getting the PPP, the Triple P together and, going up against other tag teams? And this could be anybody in, close proximity to the Colorado area, or even nationwide, maybe somebody you have eye on that's, on TV or something like that, or, and then along with that, have you had any brushes with any kind of, people that, national people may have heard about?
Not necessarily like national people. I haven't really had any brushes with that. As far as dream matches go, I mean, I'd really love to wrestle, like as a tag team. Like if it was me and the Party and the Triple P, I would honestly say like dream matches, the Pillars of Destiny. That would be, the Vikings. That would be a really good match. I'd really look forward to that. And then there's also the 1%. The tag team that Royce Isaacs is in. That'd be a tag team I'd love to face as well.
All right. And well, and I think. Go ahead.
And to be honest, I'd also have to put the Canadian Pitbulls in there as well.
Oh yeah.
I would love to wrestle the Canadian Pitbulls. And then I guess as a singles competitor, like my two kind of on the dream list, bucket list kind of thing right now are I'd love to wrestle Lonnie Valdez or Mike Seidel.
Okay.
Would definitely love to wrestle Mike Seidel.
That would be fun. Yeah. I can see that. So you think I would I'm not going to speak for him, but I think the Pillars of Destinies would even welcome a 2-on-3 handicap match too.
They probably those guys definitely look crazy.
Yeah. They're awesome. Yeah. Well, they have had some exposure on Impact, not necessarily the main show, but their web show, the Explosion show. So, there you go. There's some national brushing of fame right there. So that would be kind of fun. Well, and then of course the 1%, Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. So yeah, they're all over the place. So yeah, that would be a definitely possibility.
Oh yeah.
All right. So any other things that you have coming up here in the near future besides Primos and CSW? Even 3-4 weeks in that you're aware of that you can announce here?
All right, I can actually go over a few things. Yeah. Primos has been pretty heavily promoting a few shows coming up here within the next couple of months. Like I said to start, this Sunday, March 3rd, at the Watering Bowl in Denver, Colorado, there is a Woman's Scorn, and that's going to be. It usually starts about 7:15. Tickets are $10 online, usually about $15 at the door. And definitely looking forward to that show. And then March 8th is CSW Bar Fights Volume 3. And that's at the Playing Field Sports Bar in Colorado Springs. Then April 7th, Primos has teamed with the Watering Bowl and Crown Royal, and they are doing a WrestleMania watch party called Crown Royal Rumble.
Oh.
And that is free entry, and that's our little gift to the fans of Primos Pro Wrestling and the fans of pro wrestling in general.
Right.
So you're going to get a little bit of live wrestling before the pre-show, and then be able to watch, the pre-show and WrestleMania after.
Oh, cool! That sounds like fun.
And then I know that you know about this, Artie, but you know that every May, so taking place this year on May 5th, is Alpha 9.
Right.
It's our annual tournament that crowns the best high flyer, luchador, wrestler, just pure wrestler and luchadors and high flyers. It's just an amazing show, and that takes place on May 5th. But also, it's been extended a day, so it's May 4th and May 5th, and you're also now going to get Omega 9, which is an all-women's tournament.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to crown the best female wrestler, luchador, high flyer, grappler.
Yeah, so I guess you could say that Primos is kind of really theming it up and ratcheting it up with all these kind of events.
Oh yeah,
shows. Yeah, cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, cool, awesome. All right, well, I think that's all I have for you right now. But before I let you go, why don't you tell the listeners about if they wanted to follow you, like on social media, where they could find you, like the Facebooks, the Twitters, the etceteras. Yeah.
Alrighty, you can find me on Facebook at the Dread Captain Stevens. You can find me on both Twitter and Instagram under both Dread Captain SC.
Oh, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, once again, Captain Stevens, I salute you. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast and letting the listeners know a little bit more about you.
Oh, it was my pleasure, man. It was an honor to be here.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Once again, a big thank you to Captain Stevens for coming on to the podcast this week. I salute you. I really appreciate you for coming on. So let's go ahead and before we talk about this upcoming week, let's do the weekend review. So last Thursday was the Rocky Mountain Pro Ignition and Charged episodes from the Rocky Mountain Quarry at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. Great shows as always. Got to see some new talent that traveled in and came in. We had the young gun, Chandler Hopkins came in. Got to see him good. I really enjoy him. Him and Curtis Cole had a barn burner, excuse the pun, of a match. It was amazing, and I really love seeing the young gun come in town. He needs to come in town more often. And there was a couple other talents. I'm not sure if I caught their names quite properly. One was the Maleficent Milko, I believe. And that was great. I loved his character. He's a great character. Great. And then on Friday, the Lucha Libre and Laughs 2-day intergender tag team tournament kicked off. The Equal Fights 2-day tournament was great. I went and attended that and got to see for the first time Delia Doom in person, and Ruby Reyes was there. Taya Valkyrie came in town, like I had said. That was great. Her and Mike Siddell, Yoga Salt, had a fantastic match. And then I would say Aligato and Anaya versus Caleb Crush and Delia Doom was a fantastic match. Well, they were all fantastic matches, but those matches were probably the highlights for me, especially because just fan service for myself. I would say that with Anaya and Aligato pulling a little bit of the Left Coast Guerrillas tactics out and displayed them against their opponents. That was great. And then also on Friday as well, the Rocky Mountain Pro had their Rocky Mountain Pro experience at the Rack House. Unfortunately, because Lucha Libre and Laughs had a match, that event that night as well, wasn't able to attend. Looked like it went off really well. Of course, the talent that came in for the Thursday show at Rocky Mountain Pro was also there as well. So it's always kind of nice to see, though, get introduced to a couple more talents and not get so comfortable with the talents you see all the time at all these shows. And then, like I said, Saturday was the culmination of the Lucha Libre and Laughs tournament, where Caleb Crush and Delia Doom won the tournament. Well deserved. Everybody did well. They faced Ruby Reyes and I Am the Provider in the finals. Got to see all kinds of things. Also on Saturday night, Joey Ryan was there, but they hadn't said who he was going to be facing. And boom, as soon as the music hit, it was the fiercest feline in Lucha Libre and laughs, Ali Gato. So, keeping it up with the theme for the equal fights, Ali Gato faced Joey freaking Ryan. I was so happy to see that match. It was amazing. And there's just not enough words to describe it all. And then also the Iron Hills Championship Wrestling promotion also came back, had their showdown there in Colorado Springs. Looks like it went off well. Surprisingly, Jimbo Lucas lost his championship, and he vows to get it back as soon as he can. Sound like there was a little bit of dispute on how it happened, so I'll be excited to see how that all turns out. And then on Sunday, I attended for the first time. I went to Hugo's Lucha Libre, which also takes place at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds, same place as Rocky Mountain Pro. They dress up the arena a little bit different with the Hugo's branding and all that stuff like that. Of course, with this being Lucha Libre, a lot of it was in Spanish, and I am not even close to understanding a good majority of the words. I know a lot. It's a different experience, and it's formatted a lot differently. I did mark out that they have a mascot that comes out before the show and kind of like at intermission. I'd say I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun. Wrestling's supposed to be about fun, so I really enjoyed that. I got to see a couple of people that, of course, knew. Delta Jr. and Red Viper, and Nia had a match as well. Luna was there. We've seen her in Rocky Mountain Pro a few times as well. So it was kind of fun. Got to see a lot of new faces. They do a lot of 2 out of 3 falls, I think, as well, because they have a ring card girl, woman, whatever you want to call her, come out to tell you what round or ring it is, or fall it is, and that kind of stuff like that. So that was kind of fun. Definitely want to go again. Like I said, it is a different experience. Rowdy crowd, beating on drums, and all that kind of stuff that you would expect from a more traditional Lucha Libre promotion. So that was fun. So enough talking about the past. Let's talk about the future. We have this Thursday coming up as the time of this recording. That is tomorrow. And with it being the last Thursday of the month, that means it is time for Rocky Mountain Pro Supercharged. And it's going to be a purge event, which means it is anything goes. Ladders, chairs, steel barrels, whatever you can find. I wonder if the infamous shovel that may have a little residue, if you know what I mean, will make an appearance as well. If you want to get tickets, it's not too late, but you can always get tickets at rmpwrestling.com, or you can get them at the door. Of course, the prices do increase. And then I do not believe, as far as I'm checking my notes, that we don't have anything on Friday or Saturday, but we do have on Saturday, like Captain Stevens was mentioning, we do have Primos Pro Wrestling having their Woman Scorn event, where we've got Daisy and I Am the Product, Shade, Tarantula, and Taya Rusamy. They're featured heavily in this event, and like Captain Stevens was saying, we got a Nia and Filter to the biggest, toughest guys here in the Wrestling with Altitude area going at it. You can get tickets, $10 online, $15 at the door. Showtime 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. So you want to get tickets, go to primosprowrestling.com. It's as simple as that. So that is it that I have for right now. But before I go, I want to extend a big thank you to the Trending Topics Network for hosting this show. And if you do like this show, just go ahead and subscribe or stay subscribed, and you can listen to other great shows on this feed, such as Wrestling with Cheers, the Eurovision Showcase. We have And Chill, as well as the Spanish Announce Table, and so much more. Appreciate you all for listening and having fun with me, Wrestling with Altitude.